All right, so how are you? This is El Maestro Speaks podcast, and I'm here again having conversations in the air about things, about life, about what's happening in our locality. So, this podcast is brought to you by Cyspace Computer Solutions. Look at that! I have a sponsor. The Cyspace Computer Solution offers services like reformatting of computers or laptops, installations of softwares for your computers and laptops, and then virus removal. Of course, they are available for home servicing for your convenience. And if you're interested in having these services, you can contact 0946 952 3933. Only here in the locality of Mankayan. Ito lang Mankayan, Kakapsat. Alright, so that is Cyspace Computer Solutions, your solution to your computer problem. They also do resetting of printers, especially so these days, pandemic, maraming trabaho na kailangang i-print and yeah, usually yung mga printers natin ay kailangang ma-reset. You can call Cyspace Computer Solutions for their services. Yung mga teachers dyan needs reformatting for laptops and for printers, installations of office applications and such. You can go to Cyspace Computer Solutions. Again, if you need their services, you can contact 0946 952 3933 and they you can avail their services. Okay, so now that that's on out of the way, so what are we going to talk about now? So things happening right now. Kagabi, there was the Duterte's address to the nation, where you know, uh, he lambasted his vice president for I don't know. It's really I cannot understand the I I do not understand how he plays his politics. It would seem like everything that he does now does not really affect him at all. Um, if I'm basing this on the previous situations, like the last survey I heard about, I mean, his trust or satisfaction rating is very high. Even it's high that I think even in the Western field of politics, like in the Europe and the other nations, first world nations, that is too high. So it seems like naging Teflon na. Whatever things comes to his mouth doesn't really affect him at all. Diba? So, yun. Sila nga awanan, pakibiyangnan. And then I don't think that people care really of his mga litania. And I think Filipino people is focusing on things like what he is doing. To be fair, there are changes. There are a lot of changes happening actually, starting when he sat as the president of our country. So, yon. Or it just became the number one trending topic in Twitter. Kaya naisip ko lang. And by the way, I'm doing this podcast and it's already 12:02 a.m. I have to do this because I made a commitment that I'd be uploading at least one podcast a week. So this is my only time to do this because tomorrow again we'll be having the printing of summative test and for the distribution on Friday. Yeah. So, bagong news for Mankayan. So, dito'y Mankayan kanukot agbalintun nga they are trying to see the possibility of it becoming a paragliding destination. So, um, I think I saw it in the Facebook a while ago that there are people who came here and then they are testing the viability if it's possible that they can have a paragliding activity here that would attract a lot of tourist adventurers to come here in our place. So, magiging paragliding area na ang Mankayan. That is good. I think they started. Where did they try the activity? I think they tried it the Lepanto Airstrip. Ayun ang news. What else? That is actually really good for Mankayan. Kasi nga kung titingnan mo ang main source of income lang natin dito is um, agriculture and that's and mining. That's the two main source of living here. And if it would become a tourist hub because of that paragliding activity, and if we can maintain or if the government can improve some local destinations for tourists, then another income source of income for our kakailian. Nyapay. Uh, what else can I talk about here? Well, still, we are not having the face-to-face class and lahat tayo nahihirapan. And still, we keep on praying that we can um, pass through this challenge that's happening to us. I want to share this podcast I listened to while traveling about addiction to screen. Um, in that podcast, the author of a book um, shared the research that he has about the new addiction. So meron na tayong bagong addiction ngayon. And it's not about drugs. It's not about alcohol. It's about screen addiction. So screen addiction daw is yung pag masyado tayong addict sa screen ng ating phones and tablets, and we really have hard time letting those gadgets go. And on research, and especially if you just try to observe around you for some time, and you will see some children really glued to their phones. Even adults at times are glued to their phones, and it has an effect to our health and to our way of living. Ngayon lang tayo nakakita, I think this generation, Generation Z, I mean, we cannot call them millennials because millennials are those who were born from 1980s to 2000. According to the computer, that's what I read. So, those are the millennials. So, kasali ako doon, millennial ako. But those young generation, uh, we call them Generation Z or Gen Z, those who were born when internet is already prevalent and these gadgets are already common. Just this generation, ito lang yung nakita ko ng generation na napakabata nag-eyeglass na. So that is one of the adverse effect of too much screen time. At times, I think it became their life. Like, nakita nyo ba yung mga video ng mga bata na try searching that on video? I mean, on YouTube. Yung mga video ng bata na um, hindi sila lumalabas lang kanilang kwarto. They're just they're playing with their computers. I mean, playing with their Xbox, PSPs, mga ganon. And then here comes the parent and sisirain niya yung mga gadgets nila and just look at your reaction. Just look at the reaction of the children. And nukit-kitang kat kas lang OA nga eh. It's OA pero kas lang nga matay yun joy tao. It's like their life is connected to that gadget and that is one of the effect of screen addiction that these children ay mga ganon or I mean even adult maybe na yung gadget na yung nagro-rule sa kanilang life and it destroys their uh, job, destroys the normal way of living, so to speak. And one of the very um, good thing, I mean, one of the most memorable thing that I can remember from that podcast. I listened to that on Monday, and today is Wednesday, so cannot really remember um, word per word yung sinabi ng author that, well, yung sinuggest niya is when we are devising or when we are trying to restructure our curriculum for the school, we are teaching math, which is needed in their life. We're teaching English, we're teaching we're teaching home economics, and we are teaching, I mean, ways of life, like, right? Home economics, livelihood subjects, things like that. And we are teaching also good manners and right conduct in school. And yung suggestion is to mitigate these things that's happening right now, that this screen addiction is, I think it should be, I mean, educators or people creating the educational system of a country should find or devise a class or make a curriculum talking about the proper way of handling gadgets. I mean, it's not, I mean, not proper, pero yung ano ba yung dapat, yung proper etiquette. Aside from that, proper etiquette, and aside from those things is the control. You teach how we teach. We should create a curriculum teaching the children on how to control the use of these things. And I think dito sa atin, we should not wait for that curriculum to happen before being able to teach our children um, control their time on their screen. Um, bakit ba? Kung ano bang mangyayari sa mga bata kung ma-addict sila sa gadgets? Well, I've seen a lot. Kung dito lang sa locality natin ang pagbabasihan, back when I was teaching in private school, I've seen high school students um, na ang kinalakyan is computer, and you will see that their social skill is not developed na relative to their age. So, struggle sila sa kanilang social skills. The way to communicate with other people, they're struggling on that area. But when you ask them about computer, they are so good. They're even better than me. So, that's the plus sign of it. Or, yeah, the plus side of it is they're very good at computer, but then yun, like what they always say, and it's already a cliche that everything should be in moderation, right? There's We should balance everything, and what's happening is that if you're addicted to this thing, to one thing, and in this topic we're talking about, if you're addicted to gadgets or internet, if you're addicted to your screen, you will of course focus on that one, and you will lose your attention to other facets of your life, and there will be no balance already on what's happening to you. And then there are also some stories in his book na sinabi niya doon is that uh, because itong mga taong ito, I think this is a Japanese guy, he was addicted to playing computer games, and because he was so addicted to playing computer games, and I think uh, tagisayango na. It's a waste of time for him to go to the toilet or to the bathroom to relieve himself when nature calls. That's why when he starts to play, he wears a diaper. He wears a diaper and starts playing. And then, how does he eat? He orders pizza. So he eats pizza in the morning, pizza in the afternoon, pizza in the evening, wearing a diaper. And take note, that's an old man, old guy. I mean, an adult at that, wearing a diaper just to play continuously. That is one of the adverse effects of screen addiction. Let's not wait for that to happen here in our country. I mean, or let's just go local here in our locality. Antay yung ipalubos nga mangyari dito. Let's start. Let's start teaching our children or controlling the time the children have on the gadgets. At the same time, uh, I mean, it's not. You should not take away the gadgets from them completely, but there should be a limit. Like again, like I said, there should be balance to everything. Okay, because if you take that away from them completely, that might cause cause them to rebel against us parents. So you talk to our guy, I mean to our kids, and explain that there should be a balance to everything. And there are a lot of listening to this podcast showed me that there are a lot of effects na pwede palang may idudulot ng screen addiction na ito. Okay? So, that's about screen addiction. Ano pa ba? Oh, let's go to sports. So, about 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks? Is it 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago. I mean, 2 or 3 weeks ago, going to the field of MMA, Fulayang had his first fight after the strict lockdown. And so, naglaro siya, and then natalo siya. And a lot of, let's just say, what do you call them? We go sport analysts. I mean, how do we call these people? Sports analyst, sports writer, experts. Okay, are calling for his retirement, and I know that his prime is let's just say he's still in his prime, but he started long way before all of you. I mean, before MMA in Asia became so popular because of one. So I heard the name Fulayang when I was playing in I mean, training in Wushu, Sanshu, back in my college days. I heard his name a lot, and I watched some of his earlier fights. I think he started fighting way back in 2007. That is, I think, the time, the early days of URCC, Universal Reality Combat Championship here in the Philippines. Yan yung parang UFC natin dito sa Pilipinas. And the competitors there, uh, popularly known doon is Kaloy Badoria, one or the other people there. And of course, yung coach ng Team Lakay ngayon, si Coach Mark Sangyao. Actually, Coach Mark is also a champion of URCC. And Edward Flying was also fighting in URCC during that time, 2007. Matagal siyang naging champion doon. And so let's just say he started so early that maybe yung let's just say nagkaroon siya ng parang battle fatigue ba. But then if you look at how he play, um, if you didn't know, try to, I don't know if you can still find the videos in YouTube. Try to compare the way he plays way back in 2007 and how he fights now. There's a lot of improvement. So one thing I can say is that he is improving. Yes, natalo siya. So does that mean that he shall retire? I don't think so. We are not the person who is going to tell someone to retire. We are not in their shoes, right? But as an opinion, maybe these experts are voicing their opinion because matitint daw yung legacy niya. But then his legacy is already there. He was already a legend. I mean, he is. I'm sorry, he is already a legend. And no matter what happens, he will forever be known as the face of the Philippine MMA. So, if he wants to retire, if he does not want to retire, that's his decision. And I don't think we earn the right to tell a person to retire. Even if you're a good writer, if you're a good sports analyst, analyst. Did you not notice that when you say analyst and then you remove IST, what word is left? Alright, I'm just kidding. Okay, so even if you're an analyst and a very good analyst of sport, then I think we don't have the right to call someone to retire. Let him or let that person decide if it's his time or his coach. Uh, his coach is like, I mean, the father of the group, and he is an expert of the sports, and he knows the person. He can see his ability. He can see if still healthy or not. Then they are the only ones who can tell if he has to retire. Now, regarding, and then just recently, another member of Team Lakay again fought, and three of them, and it's two. I mean, it's one and two. So one of them won, and two of them unfortunately went to the uh, what do you call it, losers bracket. I mean, they what they did is not enough to get the W. And then a lot of people again are, bashing the team Lakay for, I really cannot, I really cannot understand the attitude of people. Just imagine yourself holding, playing in front of your computer for a day, never even tried to hold the glove, never even tried to roll with the guy, and then you're just watching sports like that, and you are so good in saying rude things about those who are so brave enough to go there, smash other people's face, and let their faces be smashed, and you have the audacity to call them out. Like, I really don't understand that one. But again, there are a lot of negative comments saying that, well, uh, they are not improving. The team Lakay is not improving. I would say otherwise because I've seen how they train. I mean, I joined their training way back in college, and I watch the pro fighters train. We are not pro fighters, so we are not we did not we did not join their training, but I watched them train, and it is, in my opinion, a world class training. There's a lot of tinkering there, and they train. When they train, it's training. Nothing else will can destroy your concentrations. It's just hard training, and that was in 2008. I mean, I don't know, 8 or 9. That's how they train, and just imagine how they train right now. Because let's not forget that at one time, the Philippines is holding 5 championship belts of one FC. Four of them is being held by Team Lakay. That's a great achievement. Of course, the competition is getting, you know, better and better, and they are also getting better and better. It's just that in a game like this, it's not always your night. Okay, just imagine this: you prepare for at least 3 months, and then you go there just one night. If in that night you're not feeling good, then you know, of course, you'll get the L. So, I mean, there's a lot of factors being considered there. And if you are a real MMA or sports fan, I don't think you would criticize them. It, I don't know. Masyado tayong mga Pilipino, masyadong magaling pumuna eh. Like, we are good at criticizing. But ang pinakamagandang gawin siguro natin, the best thing that we could do is before we try to comment like, hindi maganda kasi, hindi kasi niya ginanon eh. Hindi kasi siya magaling sa ground eh. I'm telling you, you try to roll with all the Team Lakay members just for 1 week. Okay? And then count how many times they're going to choke you. And pray that they will not choke you out because of things that you've been saying against them. Those guys are good. They find ways to defeat their opponent, even if the the sport analysts are telling that their opponent is better in jiu-jitsu than them. They find ways. Example niyan, Joshua Pasio. Okay? Good at finding ways on how to submit people. Lito Adiwang. look at how he plays on the ground, how he rolls on the ground. He is good. At the same time, he is also good at striking. So I don't really think that, of course, there's always an improvement. They need to improve because looking at the sports of MMA, that is a fast evolving sport. Just compare the MMA of 1993 when it first came out. I mean, the way how they fought in UFC 1993, UFC 1, just compare it to how MMA fighters fight now. It's totally different. You cannot recognize UFC 1 already in how they play MMA today. It's totally different. It's a fast evolving sport. And come to think that it was just started in 1993. That was just like 20 or more years ago. It's a fast evolving sport. And watch, just an example of it is just watching MMA back in 2007, 8, 9. Just watching the likes of Randy Couture back in the day when you can really notice that one guy prefer one area of the game, like Randy Couture prefers, because his background is wrestling, prefers wrestling down guys, clinching them, and then doing his dirty boxing with them. And other guys like Mirko Krokop prefers kicking others head off. And uh, you know, I can give more examples of that. So you can see the fighters back then preferring their original background. Of course, they mixed things up, but you can really see the big percentage of their mixing is that they have their root discipline being mostly utilized in their fight. Compare it to what's happening right now, wherein all of the MMA fighters can roll on the ground, can grapple, and can strike. And it's just 10 years ago. So you can see that this sport is evolving fast. And of course, Team Lakay also needs to evolve fast. And I think they are doing that. So um, there's no reason to call out someone to retire. There's no reason to bash fighters when they lose. I mean, there's no good reason at all to bash a fighter when they lose, because if you met that fighter, I don't even think you can hold your ground. Maybe they can just, if the fighter is pissed at you, they can just choke you out, play you, and you know, knock you out. So really, uh, this thing that we have, the screen, going back to the screen addiction, it's really created another bad attitude that I think is also destroying our culture. The culture of bashing, the culture of saying things that we really cannot say in front of the person's face. That thing. When you bash a fighter on social media, I mean, you can say a lot of things against them, but I am sure that when you are in front of those fighters, all of you who said negative things will all be very appreciative. I, I, I guarantee you that you will never say a bad thing against that fighter. And sabihin natin, kaplastikan siguro yon. Maybe you really want to say something, but no, it's not plastic, and it's professionalism. They're doing things that you cannot do, so you better shut your mouth up. You know, you're just, they're doing that to entertain you, and you have no right to really say nasty things against them. Oh, masyadong number one fan yata ng Team Lakay si ano maybe that's what you're saying, but maybe yeah, I'm a fan of Team Lakay, but no, I'm a fan of people going for their dreams. I'm a fan of people doing hard work and doing anything, doing everything just to achieve their dream. I'm a fan of those people. I mean, just to look at this, how Team Lakay fighters start. I mean, uh, they have no world class equipment. They have no world class coach. They figured everything out on their own. So, you know, that is why I'm a fan of them. Okay? They had a dream and they did everything to reach that dream. That's why I'm a fan of them. I'm a fan of all the fighters that, I mean, like Manny Pacquiao. Look at him now. Where did he start? See? So I'm a fan of those people. They they inspire me. They give me energy at times I want to give up in life. So when we're looking at things like if you're a fan of them and then suddenly they fall short of your expectation, just look at the good things that they've done. I The things that made them fall, they can always evaluate that one. Um, we don't need to, criticize them like we are an expert, because people, in order to go to the top, needs to evaluate themselves, and they've been in the top, and that's what they've been doing. Okay? They've been evaluating themselves so that they can reach their goal. And at times there is what we are calling the stumbling block, but for sure they will get back on their feet and continue the journey. So that's Team Lakay. Oh, napakahaba nun. What else we have here? So it's almost how many days before Christmas? Well, let me take this opportunity to greet everyone who is listening a Merry Christmas, and may the peace and the joy of that and the love for that season be upon us all. The blessing, of course. And what else? And like I said, I'll be continuing doing this, and I made a commitment that because this is a passion project, that I'd be doing this once a week. Maybe I'll be having conversations or sharing things I read, a book that I read to help someone. Maybe this is a podcast of sharing thoughts, or maybe I'd be having conversations with some of my teacher friends here in Mankayan, and at times the language might be changed. So magkakankanay kami, or man Ilocano kami, kamanadi, and you know, whoever wants to listen will listen. Whoever, and I really don't give a bull crap about it if somebody's listening or not. This is Yes, like I said, it's a passion project, and I really thank you for listening. If you're listening, really, I really thank you for that. But then that's it. I'm just sharing my thoughts here, and if you want to share your thoughts with me, then give me a call, and then we will be talking to each other in this podcast. Now I'd be cutting this off because I think it's already 12:30 and people need to sleep. Gotta go to sleep. So thank you so much. This is El Maestro Speaks. This is my podcast for this week. See you next week.